I don't design communes, so I may have a poor idea of how it's done. But if I was going to make one, I would have, along this line, I would have a second in charge who would do the goading and the nagging and pushing these people off to the truck farm every morning, and I would have a spiritual leader who stayed back and talked about spirituality, and I would make sure that the two, each person did that job and only that job. Does it concern you that you are the person who's now doing the nagging and the goading?
No. Neither I will do it, nor I will have a second person to do it. I hate the very idea of nagging anybody. Either he understands, or the whole world is free. He can move and live with his misunderstanding, non-understanding, wherever he wants. But here we will not allow nagging, goading, no. And if you think that you can create a commune,
no, I'm not suggesting.
Then try. And you will be surprised that except failure, you will not get anything out of it.
The track record on utopias is really pretty weak. So many people have come to the United States and tried to build societies. We were talking about that with one of the Rajneeshis today, one of the sannyasins. And there's a history of failures.
The reason is that all those societies that have come here had an average life of 3 years at the most. None of them succeeded. For the simple reason, first, they were all fanatics of some kind or other. Secondly, they were all dreamers, not realistic. Thirdly, they all worshipped poverty and thought that poverty has something spiritual in it. These three things were the causes of all those communes' disappearance. I know the history of all those communes. I hate poverty. I don't think it has anything to do with spirituality. In fact, poverty is the source of all crime and everything disgusting that has happened to humanity. I want my people to be comfortable, to be luxurious, not poor. Secondly, I am not a dreamer, and I am not thinking of an utopia. All those societies were utopians. They were thinking of creating some utopia. I am not interested in utopia. I am thinking only of a very human, real society. Thirdly, we are not fanatics about anything. We don't have any religious fanaticism, We don't have any political fanaticism. We don't have, in fact, any ideology to be fanatic about. So all the three ingredients which have been the cause of disappearance of all the societies are absent in this commune. So I don't see there is any possibility of this commune disappearing. The only possibility is if the Oregonian government wants to make another Hiroshima, then it can disappear. But it will be a good, beautiful place. You miss a Hiroshima in America, a memorial for tourists and good income.
How would you feel if there was, a minor rebellion here? For example, you've asked the citizens of Rajneesh to change the name of the city back. What if they don't do it? What if you start seeing signs like that within the commune of people saying, well, Bhagwan wants this, but we don't? This has not occurred to you. For example, you have suggested to the people of Antelope, Rajneesh, change the name back to Antelope. What if there's no interest in that idea? What if they put it on the ballot and it loses? The people, the sannyasins who live there decide, I like Rajneesh, it's going to stay that. So this is the sort of thing that could be happening, that we see hints of.
They understand me. If they have any doubt, they can ask. If they have any argument against me, they can place their argument. I am ready for an open encounter with all the sannyasins who live there. In fact, because no sannyasin wants to live there, they want to live here. So I don't see that they will disagree what I have said. If they want to live here, they can't have the government of city of Rajneesh. Then why not gracefully give it back to the people the city belonged? Why create unnecessary hostility?
Why not have those sannyasins who don't like living down in Rajneesh right now pack tonight, come down here and live where they want to live?
Then what about the properties that the foundation has purchased from the Antelopians? Give them in donation?
It was the corporation's fault for buying it in the first place. What do they want with Antelope? You've asked the question yourself.
No, this is sannyasin's corporation.
Yeah.
This is their property.
The same people who bought that, I believe, bought that enormous man camp that's down there, that's housing for another 600 people?
The question is, the people who are living there, the property is theirs too. Right now it is theirs. And we have offered that you can purchase your property and we will take our sannyasins back. Now this seems to be very illogical of you to ask me to tell people that just vacate. Why don't you go and tell the Antelopians, who are only 12, and there are 100 sannyasins? This will be more rational that those 12 pack away and we are ready to purchase their properties. So they will not be losing anything.
I may be being illogical, but it strikes me that probably people are more important than property, and those people would be a lot happier in this community. And the amount of money involved is not that great.
The property is also important because the people cannot exist without the property. People are important, and it happens almost in this way. For example, Jesus says, man cannot live by bread alone. It looks certainly right. Man needs some higher values to live. He cannot live by bread alone. But this sentence is not complete. Can man live without bread? Somebody should ask Jesus. I say man may live with bread alone, but man cannot live at all without bread. So the man is important, and the property is for man. But without property, the man cannot live.
Let me suggest this, that there's probably nobody in Oregon who wants that land right now. And that means those
If
sannyasins
they
are gonna
don't
stay there.
want, then we are going to remain there. Then all those idiots were supporting antelope people, where all their sympathy has gone now.
You're suggesting that Oregonians should put together the money to buy that property back?
Certainly, because if they're supporting antelope people all along their fight, and they were in their favor, this is a chance to show whether their sympathy is verbal or they mean it. If they mean it, then what is the problem? Oregon is such a big state. There are so many people with millions of dollars. They can purchase, just a single person can purchase the whole property.
This is a very rich commune. The argument could be made this commune could purchase that, could forget that property and just bring the people back. And that is the answer I think Oregonians would give.
I cannot forget anything. This way or that, either we will have antelope or they will have antelope. It is now for them to decide. We are ready to vacate if they purchase the properties. Otherwise, they should sell their properties and get lost.
Are you prepared to make offers for the remaining property in Antelope?
We are ready to purchase their properties. At the market price, we are ready to purchase.
Let me ask you about accounts right now in the little time we have left. Are you confident of that the book's balance here and in the United States, that money that is missing was perhaps taken out of donations?
No money is missing from here.
Okay. One other question, and that is, I heard you at the news conference, I think it was last Monday. Just so I understand, and if I can, I'd like you, if you could give me a yes or no answer. You are no longer a religion. Do you expect to keep a tax exemption?
Certainly,
Great.
because we are a way of religiousness. We are not a religion, not an organized religion, but a way of religiousness, a way of life, a way of spirituality. Our whole effort here is to create a school of mystics. This is higher than religion. If religion can have tax exempt status, we are doubly qualified to have it.
Have you talked to a lawyer about this?
Yes. I know I don't need to talk to any lawyer. I will talk to the income tax people. I don't need to talk with liars. There is no need. I am enough intelligent to prove that the way of spirituality is far higher than an organized religion. In fact, all organized religions should be taken away their tax exempt status. Because whatever they have done to the world is simply ugly. They have created wars, crusades, murders, burnt living people. They have done all the crimes, and still they need tax exempt status. And we are a commune of meditators, and meditation is simply a way of religiousness. This religiousness is just like
Bhagwan, they're going to need to get a few cutaways as you talk.
okay,
So he's going to be picking and moving the camera.
he can. This is not a religion, but this is far more. It is exactly what religion should have been. The word religion making you centered, alert, aware, conscious, so that you can feel on your own account. 65. In one woman, I don't believe. It can save you a lot of problems. No, I don't want to solve this so easily. I love the heart, and so to those people that 4 years the whole department is working
blanket around a baby when you give it to the person so that their hand doesn't touch the glove, because that way the glove would be dirty all the time. Right, and then you can't put the dirty hands in the gloves.
He was afraid we can't buy.
You got the ice cream looking at the phone.
Swiss chicken in the corn.
Hi, Bruce. You also hand me one. Yeah. Huh? Really?
Transfer is made. Let's wait till they actually do it on the next one.
Okay.
This is Sarita's sister.
Oh.
German chocolate.
Just a cone, single thing.
You know Sarita's in home care?
Sweetie's in home care?
She has bronchitis.
She seemed fine yesterday.
Well, actually, yesterday's when she managed to have an ear infection.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that used to be the only thing that ever got wrong with her, was something with her
No, she never gets sick.
neck.
Okay, now what is that proper method of transfer?
The person takes a napkin and they hold it out so that their hand isn't kind of grabbing all over the napkin, but their hand is sort of behind the napkin. It does seem very complicated, but it really works.
This is to avoid contact with the rubber, with the latex glove?
Exactly. So then the person holds the napkin around the cone, rather like a baby blanket around a baby, and proceeds to eat the ice cream. And the glove remains pristine.
Christy.
Yeah.
Midship. Yeah. So I'll just put have enough ice cream.
Yeah. Get down here.
You're supposed to do this after, you wipe the phone afterwards? Okay, let's go see if we can catch this individual. Tom? Oh, you didn't wipe the mouth?
You're right.
Oh, no.
I'm a very bad sannyasi.
No. You're not a bad sannyasin at all. What we're noticing is most people don't do it. In fact, many of the AIDS precautions are being forgotten now. Have you noticed the same thing?
I don't know. I just arrived here because I live outside, you know. So I mean, sometimes I could not see if the people do this rule or not. I couldn't follow. I arrived last night. Understand? This is. Some of these rules is more easy for me to follow. Some I don't know why. You know how it is to get together.
Do you hate?
Condition.
Do you think those rules are really necessary? Do you think there's that much concern or that much danger?
I don't know, objectively, I am not very much aware about scientific, situation of the heads. What I know that the danger can be so immense that perhaps it's better to be a little bit too much than less. still we don't know more how is the situation, because in France, where I was now, the French people have an idea, the English people have another, and American have another. Still it's not clear about how the microbe they transmit, if not or yes through the saliva or through the, you know. So for me it's better to do something more than less in a situation like this.
Great.
So I am agree with the situation. Also sometimes I go speak out.
Thanks a lot.
Bye. Now I go. Thank you.
That one doesn't count, Tom. If we have to tell them to do it.
That's the very thing that attracted us, is the poetry and the mysticism.
We heard in the discourse was people being told to get back to work. Have you seen signs of people not coming to work or coming in late?
Well, I really wasn't at the discourse this morning, so why don't you tell us a little bit more of what you heard about it? And
Were you at
Yeah, not in my temple and not any of my friends. So, I mean, I don't doubt that it might be happening, but it's not anything I know directly about. Because, in fact, at our meeting before we start our worship, we were saying we all feel great and we all feel really together, and we're all basically on time and doing what we know we need to do. So it's not what we're doing.
Is your impression there's a different atmosphere here now?
I think the air smells much better than it used. No, I feel sort of that way. Yeah, and I think that's only for myself. You know.
Sort of what signs have changed, or how do you feel?
I just feel more relaxed than I ever have, and I don't feel fearful like that I'm going to do anything wrong, or that anybody's going to be really angry at me if I make a mistake, or I don't know. Maybe that was never the case, but somehow now I just feel more relaxed, and I feel excited, and I feel like anything's possible somehow. And before I didn't feel that way. I felt things were rigid, and I didn't feel like I could change anything or make too much noise about things that I wanted to see different. And now I feel like I can do whatever I want in terms of making suggestions. And I don't know.
How about you? Were you at discourse?
No, I wasn't at discourse today. I feel like people now can talk more easily. I find people talk more freely. They can be themselves more than they did before. I feel more comfortable with the way the atmosphere is now.
Yeah, that's been in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, getting more. This last week more than even the previous week. It's getting more.
Now, do you work in the same area or the same apartment?
No, I work in the restaurant.
At the restaurant, people have not been showing up for work?
No, I haven't seen that.
However, if he said it, it must be happening somewhere. So even though it hasn't been our experience, you're just taking 3 people in 2 temples. Obviously, it is happening somewhere.
Why would it?
Well, I think we were used to a much more rigid structure, and now it's much more relaxed. And to find the middle way, sometimes people go really unbalanced. It's like when a child learns to walk. A child is not used to walking, and then all of a sudden it wants to walk all the time. And then somewhere it finds a middle balance between sitting and walking and standing still. I think that's what's happening here in the commune, that we're finding our way to a middle balance. And that may take a little time. And some people maybe need a little bit of a Zen stick about it. Say, hey, you're supposed to be somewhere at a certain time. Let's do it because people are counting on you. And eventually it will happen.
What I really came here to talk to people about, and I'm
what
sorry
we
I
had
got
for lunch.
distracted, was AIDS precautions. We're down at the hotel, and we see remarkably few of the precautions that were recommended.
We're getting like this. I never see anybody wipe a phone anymore.
Oh, really? We always do. Yeah.
I seem to have found it. Is that your experience as well? Do you see the precautions that were recommended all being observed?
Where I am. I haven't been to the hotel lately. I don't know what goes on there. We got a reminder today, didn't we, about using alcohol on our hands after we use the bathroom, which I've been doing, so I don't know.
There was a notice that was posted on the window down at Rajneesh Medical Corporation. Well, in fact, we know all the precautions are under review.
Right.
But under review does not mean a direct change right now. It just means it's being looked at again. So until something else happens, most of us are following what the recommendation is. We're still alcoholing things that need to be alcoholed and taking care.
How about you? Do you find that, do you see that people are observing the...
I haven't noticed any change. As far as I can see, people are doing it. Or I speak for myself.
Thank you. I'm wondering what your experience is. Have you noticed that people are less interested in those precautions in the last, say, 3 weeks?
No, I haven't seen any change from I've been observing things as I always have, and the people around me have, alcoholing telephones and anything else I can't speak of, in people's rooms, what they do. But no, I don't see any change, actually. I think overall the community, the major change has been is that people are making decisions from themselves, and my hit is that everybody sees that those precautions for now are necessary until we hear otherwise.
We were discourse this morning, and for the second day in a row, Bhagwan talked about the fact that people are coming to work late, going home early, sometimes not coming in at all. Have you seen that?
From where I am, I'm associated with the law firm actually in town, and I haven't seen that at all. In fact, as you know, from the last 3 weeks, we've been working double time. So it's probably that certain people are reacting in what would be considered a more normal way of after coming from, as Bhagwan calls it, a fascist regime, and not understanding maybe a concept of freedom, that they've to react to the way we had been living, their reaction is to do the opposite. And it's like a pendulum. And the feeling I get is that what will happen is people will swing back towards the middle. But what Bhagwan is here for the community is to always remind ourselves of ourselves and to bring us back. And that swing of the pendulum might be so far that it could be detrimental to the community. So when he says all the things that he says, you take those things that you really feel he's speaking to yourself. And for myself, I've been worshiping, I think, as hard as I have been always. And most people, I feel, have been. His reminders are always well taken. So.
There was a news conference, and there was a question recently about whether or not people believe everything Bhagwan says. As an outsider, of course, I don't. And historically, I know he gets facts wrong.
Right. As a former social scientist, that also hits me every once in a while, like the 20% presidents when, knowing it's 10%. But the specific factual things are never the issue. To me also, I can only speak personally, he's always telling us never to believe anything he says, and he said that for years. What he does talk to us about is a trust, and that's what comes up. This though maybe somebody says something that is factually incorrect, why is it being said or what's it for? And sometimes incorrect facts or facts that are twisted around a little bit have a more powerful reaction or effect for the individual for growth, which is, I guess, ultimately why we're all here. So it's true, in my head I say, why do you say that there's 500,000 this, or why do you say that there's 20% that? And those maybe are inaccuracies, but the essence of what he's saying or what he's not saying between his words, that's what seems to be more important for me.
You think that's true for most sannyasins?
I can't speak for anyone else. I try to, but I have trouble speaking for myself sometimes.
Good enough. We got it. I don't want to keep worshiping.
Well, yeah, they keep worshipping, but some like to develop now their music or things in artistry which they haven't done for years, and they might overdo it right now a little bit. I mean, we have to keep it together and keep the commune working. And this will, I guess, was a good reminder from him. I mean, he did it yesterday too, and today, so I guess we get it together.
There's a long list of AIDS precautions Bhagwan has talked about too. Have you noticed that those are being forgotten now in the last 3 weeks?
No, I don't think so. No, that's one point that it's still quite solid here. At least people are following those. Maybe there is less of a fear as opposed to before, because before there was this horror of being isolated and all that without really knowing what's happening. But now the information is pretty clear, but still the precautions are there.
Do you alcohol the phone every time you use it?
Yeah, that's sort of become routine now. I mean, to the point that people are carrying when they go off the ranch, they carry their alcohol swabs, and the precaution goes even further than just the commune.
I don't know, because we pretty much do our own gig.
2, 3. Yoo-hoo, over here. They're terribly shy.
Now cut that out.
That's on shoes. How do you spell that?
Salila.
What's been happening down here? There was a change in attitude, or a period of time after Sheila left where people were doing what?
Well, for us farmers down here, we're pretty much involved with the cattle and the cows, and they're pretty much the same. And what needs to happen is the same. And
Bhagwan has suggested that there was a time when people were coming late, leaving early, not showing up?
at Rabi, I haven't seen, Rabi is where we have the cows, and I haven't seen very much of that. And I think he was talking more about Surdas, but Surdas is the truck farm.
What have you heard is going on there?
No, that I don't know, but I have the feeling he's more talking about that. I just can tell you from what happens here at Rabia, and that's nothing has changed very much.
Has there been any change in attitudes, or has there been a change in atmosphere that you're aware of on the ranch, on the commune?
I don't know. I guess you have to ask everybody personally what the change is for them.
Personally,
And
what do you feel?
I feel great. And I feel relieved in a way, and I really enjoy what I'm doing, and this milking the cows, and I've always been enjoying that. And
Thank you. The possibility of being arrested was on the Bhagwan's mind today, and he told his followers this morning he would welcome it. He said he'd committed no crimes, and arrest would only show America's hypocrisy. Bhagwan said that if he's arrested, he could muster some 3 million protesters worldwide, 1 million of them sannyasins and 2 million who sympathize with the Rajneeshi cause.
Bhagwan says he wants no terrorism and no bombs, but in the event of his arrest, he wants 3 million people in silent meditation outside American embassies around the world. Ta-da! And now the stand-up.
So we wait for the truck to go by?
Well, then we can... The Bhagwan's claim of 1 million sannyasins may be a little high. From Europe, Sheila says the actual number is only about 35,000 followers worldwide, and it may only be with Bhagwan's arrest and subsequent protests that we'll find out which one of them is telling the truth. From Rajneeshpuram, I'm John Tuttle, News 8. Take 2. The Bhagwan's claim of 1 million sannyasins may be a little high. From Europe, Sheila says the actual number is only about 35,000 in his worldwide following. It may only be with Bhagwan's arrest and the subsequent protests that we'll find out which one of them is telling the truth. From Rajneeshpuram, I'm John Tuttle, News 8.
Minnesota. I don't think that's the most.
Shot.
Get away the titty bitties, they have work to do.
That's worship.
Mop Ramalaki.
Did you know? I did, man. I can get for you?
I'm thinking.
They were expecting them, and then they, I guess, through their channels, they found out they're all in a meeting in Madras.
It would sure help us out immensely if we could work.
I did cancel my
I'm not. No,
appointment
it's not that.
yesterday.
It's not that. It's.
Before he even said it.
Yeah.
Tell them your
I
story
just saw
about
him
what
as a
happened.
spokesperson. Don't know anything about it. Period. So then they said, well, I'd like to talk to you about everything and anything and who's who and what's what around here. And I said, well, that's fine, but I have I have a date with my boyfriend right now. Do I have to come in right now? Because they didn't tell me it was an optional thing. The way that they had portrayed it to me was just this, come on in the office right now and have yourself a seat and I'll give you a cup of coffee and we can chat, that kind of a thing. And I didn't have anything to hide, so I felt fine about it. And I just said, well, otherwise I would have gone right then. I said, well, that might not be very important to you, but to me it's very important to have a date.
So what did they want to ask you about? That,
So then he said, well, why don't we set it up for tomorrow? I said, fine. What time? He said, 1 o'clock. I said, fine. Then I was in the hotel that same day, and this woman was standing at the phone, and she was crying, and I said, are you okay? I knew she was with the medical corporation. She says, I have always heard about FBI interrogations, but I feel like I've just been raped. And I said, well, what's the matter? What happened? And she said, they were not straight with her. They were really not just interrogating her, but intimidating her and harassing her and asking her to say things that didn't have anything to do with the case and really making her feel like a criminal. She said, I am innocent. And I walked out of there feeling like I was a criminal myself. And so I thought, oh, I don't know if I want to do this interview. So I then talked to legal counsel, who weren't lawyers but people who knew. And I said, what is the situation? I've been called. I assumed I had to go. They said, you'd be doing them a favor if you want to talk. And I said, well, I don't have anything to hide. I'd be happy to tell them whatever I know. And they said, fine. What do they want to talk about? And I said, everything and anything and who's who and what's what. And they said, don't be stupid. They have to tell you what subjects ahead of time. And I said, oh, well, they certainly didn't do that. And then I just said, I want to talk to somebody then beforehand. And then I saw another person who said it was just horrendous, the way that they were being treated when they went in there.
And this is by whom?
What's
a specific agency or the crew or what?
They didn't say.
You don't know? It was
In my case, the person who had asked me to talk was the Justice Department. I don't know who the person was that was investigating this woman that I had spoken to. Or
The U.S. Justice Department.
U.S. Department of Justice, not
Not the state, not the
state
agency.
I don't know.
Department of Justice.
He just said to me, I'm with the Justice Department.
Whatever that means.
Have they also been parking something up at the police station?
I don't know. We could go find out.
Yeah, I'm for taking you right up there. That's
Yeah.
the last place to look.
Oh, I thought they wanted to. You ready? No one's. You want to try?
There just ain't nobody
No,
home.
nobody home.
Why do you say that? Little clouds of caffeine. Uneasy.
This is the officer?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think there's anybody.
I mean, they might be in there, but they're
It's not open.
shades across.
Who's upstairs?
There's new security in the fire department.
Yes. Good morning. Is Barker here?
No, she isn't. She did not get you in.
She's. Oh, at Nagajurna, she's.
Right.
Have you spoken with any of the FBI or other investigators?
No, I haven't.
Are they here today?
As far as I know, they are.
But they're not here.
Nagarjuna would be the place to go see.
But they're not here in this office.
No. Okay. Hi. Are you done?
Well, you never know.
Excuse me, Bhagwan indicated that the investigators were no longer getting cooperation.
Any comments would have to be given by my superior, because I wouldn't want to give you the proper information.
Are you still here investigating?
I'm here, yes.
Who's your superior?
If you talk to Lieutenant Renfro,
Is he here?
I am assuming he is, I'm not sure.
Could you ask
I
him?
can't give any comments. If I see him, I will ask him to come
Yeah,
out.
because there's a great deal of confusion in
Okay.
terms of what
If I
Bhagwan
see him,
said
I will
last
ask him
night.
to come out.
If you could-
Can you ask him to come out, please? We'll wait.
If he's here.
Yeah. Scott?
Just me.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi. I'm sure you understand the circumstances, given the news conference last night, where Bhagwan basically said, pack your bags, we're not cooperating anymore. As far as he's concerned, you're not welcome here anymore. And that's the reason we're taking unusual steps here, because we do want to get that clarified as to whether the investigators are still here and whether you're still getting cooperation.
Investigators are still here, and we intend just to proceed on with the investigation, and that's our lawful responsibility. And we decide who we want to talk to, and other officials outside the law enforcement field don't really direct or not an influence on who we interview. We make that determination based upon the investigation and interview people accordingly.
Are you still getting cooperation from the Rajneeshpuram Peace Force?
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. I can't really say anything else other than what I've just.
That indicates, if I'm not mistaken, a difference. I mean, up until 8 o'clock last night, all was peace and harmony when talking to either you or Barker.
I don't notice any difference, and I expect full and complete cooperation until I receive information otherwise.
Are you still going to try to talk to Bhagwan?
Well, like I said, when the time is opportune and based on other factors in the investigation, we intend to talk to all parties involved.
Just in terms of police work in general, Is it ever acceptable? I mean, ignore this investigation, so you don't have to even refer to this, but is it ever acceptable from your experience to have a party that you're interviewing videotaping you doing the interview in an investigation?
Well,
Or to have press present.
I'm not.
I mean, just in the past, forget about this case.
Well, yeah, that tends to enter some sensitive areas right now, and I'm not going to discuss it.
Do they have the ability to kick you off the ranch right now and make you go get a warrant?
Well, there too, I really don't prefer to discuss that. Like I said, we intend to continue the investigation.
From here?
Right here, and in the same manner that we have, so that's all I have for now. I really...
Did everybody leave early last night? It seemed to me...
No.
Did you and Barca agree that you're only going to be holding press conferences at 2:30 every day?
Yes, the reason for that 2:30 press conference every day is that we've limited now down to once a day. That's because of the nature of our releases were primarily the same, and there weren't dramatic changes, so that's why we've limited it down.
Has there been a dramatic change in the investigation at this point?
I don't think so, not from our perspective. We intend just to proceed forward as we have.
And nobody's kicked you out of here?
We're here. Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate your time.
Close. Business.
I'm Scott Miller from KGW. We've chatted before. Just wondering if the level of cooperation, as far as you're concerned, is what it was a week ago. We heard Bhagwan speak fairly disparagingly of the investigators last night.
Well, I got here this morning and was meant by my tour guide, and I haven't, at this point, found anything different. I've heard some rumors. I've heard some comments, but until I get back over to the office and until I go back out and continue with the investigation, I won't know.
Did you hear anything this morning that hinted that they would not cooperate any longer, or any accusations about the way your investigation is going?
You mean here in the meeting?
Yes, did Bhagwan say anything about your investigation this morning, or the cooperation with it?
No, he strictly discussed the questions that was put to him by the people in the audience.
Given your police experience, and we can even forget about this particular investigation, but in your experience, have you ever seen investigators allow somebody to videotape an interview with an investigator during an investigation for their own records?
I don't remember any, and I know what you're talking about, and that is it's a legal thing that has came up that created a problem of the law enforcement talking with Bhagwan. The problem we're having out here that everyone should understand is that the commune out here is foreign to us, and us as law enforcement. And law enforcement, in the normal means that we investigate, is foreign to the commune. And that's where we're having some problems. But as these problems are coming up and as we sit down and we discuss these problems, we're slowly working them out. I've had some frustrations, and I know the commune people have had some frustrations, but we have that in any kind of an investigation. And I think that time will show that we'll resolve the accusations out here, and we will come to a successful conclusion in bringing the perpetrators, if they're proven to be violators, to court.
Bhagwan said last night that the FBI has 4 times scheduled an interview with him and canceled it. He's saying it's because there's a conspiracy with the FBI to get people here to betray the commune. Will you comment on that?
No, there's no conspiracy. Having been in law enforcement as long as I have, the one thing that I've noticed working with the other agencies is we have, from my point of view, more cooperation than I've ever seen, and especially considering the broad coverage of what went on here, that especially in the wiretapping. I don't know if how many people realize it, but this was probably the largest wiretapping incident in the history of any nation.
You've seen evidence of that, and you're convinced that was going on?
Yes, I have. There's no doubt about that. I think most of the people in the commune here have even seen that.
Do you know why the FBI canceled? Did they in fact schedule 4 times and cancel out, and do you know why?
About 2 or 3 days ago, we were going to have a meeting, and I think it was I don't remember all the times. There was a 2 o'clock and a 7 o'clock meeting, and the first one was canceled by them. I personally have asked to have a personal audience with Bhagwan probably at least a half a dozen times. In one of my frustrations yesterday or the day before, I got upset and said I'd like to see him, because I felt maybe if he understood what law enforcement role was, that maybe he could help us get by some of these obstacles. Also, in hearing him and listening to him, want the truth brought out, and all of these accusations proven and the perpetrators brought to trial, I thought maybe that if I had a direct door to him, not only then would we in law enforcement feel that he's sincere and that we're not being blocked, but if we were, he has the authority then to open those doors so that we can continue the investigation.
What sort of obstacles are you running into specifically?
There's areas that we're not allowed access to, and then by the time we are, a lot of time has gone by, and I'm sure you all are aware that in the preservation of evidence or in contacting witnesses, you need, the time is of the essence. And
what sort of areas, for example?
Oh, there's been some buildings. One of my frustrations was officer safety. The area that we're living in, some things had came to my attention, and so for safety I wanted some areas checked, and it took me 2 days to get permission to check the areas for our own safety. And I still cannot understand how checking that would have violated anyone's rights.
Are you finding a lot of people now refusing to talk?
No, the only thing we know is there is a legal defense team of some type, and they are passing out forms that advise the people of certain rights which they have, and that they should seek counsel. I briefly looked at the form, but I haven't read it that close.
Is there any way that investigators would allow people to allow the people here at the commune to videotape an investigatory interview with a key player like Bhagwan in this whole investigation?
I can't answer that. The instructions I've had is that if we're going to have an interview with Bhagwan, that we have to follow the guidelines by the U.S. Attorney, because down the road, if we're going to have a successful prosecution of the perpetrators, we must have protected the evidence the way the court demands, and the witnesses' statements must be kept in some type of confidentiality. Everyone has to realize that in a democracy, if someone is accused of something, then we have to collect evidence, which includes witnesses, and then you take that information to a grand jury, and the grand jury then said more people, they may subpoena him in, and then they issue, that is the system. You just don't go out and arrest someone because someone's made an accusation to us, and give us the information we need so that we can come to a successful conclusion.
Major, have you talked to any sannyasins yet this morning?
Just a couple.
In interview situation?
No. Well, come over here and get in. This young lady is my guide this morning, and she met me here, and we have conversed, but there's been no hostility. In fact, she has been quite helpful.
No, I guess what I was wondering is, have there been any more ongoing interviews at the ranch house this morning?
There will be. I haven't been there. I got here at 7:30 and then came on down here. And when I had left